It's your daily dose of Donna. How are you guys doing? It is Wednesday, October 1st. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. It is almost Yom Kippur for all of my Jews and anyone else, honestly. Oh my goodness, you guys. Happy October. We are officially in October mode. Are you welcoming the fall? Are you celebrating Halloween? Are you officially decorating for Halloween? Are the pumpkins up? Are the gourds up? How are we doing? I love the fall. I'm actually like feeling the fall now. I want to start with making the chili. I want to watch Hocus Pocus. I want everything to smell like cinnamon and pumpkin. I want to bring out the candles and start decorating. I want to drink red wine. You know what? I want to just bring it in. I want to embrace the fall. Are you with me or are you with me? You guys, we have a good episode today. We do. We're going to talk more on Ellen Greenberg. I went down the rabbit hole big time. I finished the Hulu documentary. I watched everything. Is the Gavin Fish here? I'm talking about you, Gavin, today. Literally talking about you. I DM'd you on Instagram. Can't believe it. I wanted you to be a guest on my show. OMG. So excited. Gavin is here. I was just watching Gavin's show. The star Gavin is here. So excited. We are going to talk about Ellen. And Gavin, if you want to be on the show, let me know right now in the DMs and I'll bring you on. It will be like a last minute special guest. But we also are going to talk about, we're going to talk about Ellen Greenberg, my new obsession. I listened to multiple podcast episodes, including Gavin Fish's YouTube on it. It was unreal. I am so deep down the rabbit hole. I just can't believe the corruption. You guys know I got really, oh my gosh, Gavin's going to join. I'm going to bring Gavin on. Gavin, I'm going to send you a DM with the StreamYard link if you're open to that. I also want to do a quick Dancing with the Stars chat because I have a little special video for you in 2 seconds. And we'll see if I can get to any of the other stories because now I feel like I just got to talk to Gavin. I just got to talk to Gavin the entire time. And maybe I'll do another episode about other stuff. But I do only have an hour because I got to pick my kids up. So I'm going to send everything to Gavin. And while I do that, you guys, everyone get ready. It is your daily dose of Donna. Well, isn't this a surprise? How exciting is that? I'm really excited about this. I wish I knew more YouTubers like all the time. I'm constantly discovering new people and new incredible creators. It's just really unbelievable how many special and really deep diving YouTubers and creators there are out there. The Ellen Greenberg story is something that just popped up in my life, like 48 hours ago when I heard about it. And the reason I heard about it obviously is because of Hulu, but it really is because of these podcasters and these YouTubers that do the deep dives. It's been around for a long time. A lot of you guys have known about it, including people like Gavin Fish and Annie Elise, who have been kind of deep diving. And then my friend Eliza Rosen sent me all these deep dives this morning, including a podcast that I've been obsessed with and listening this morning. I have to tell Eliza that Gavin is on my show today. But I was listening to a podcast that was so really incredible called Crime Analyst. And there's a 3-part podcast called Hidden Homicide, The Disturbing Death of Ellen Greenberg with Dr. Jamie Zuckerman. There's 3 parts, one on May 6th of this year, then June 8th, and June 15th. And Gavin is actually a guest on one of those as well. It's really incredible how much work and how much energy these people have done for this case. and in the name of Ellen Greenberg and so many other my puppy is going crazy down there. So many other of these poor victims who have just been kind of forgotten. Welcome to the show, Gavin.
Hello, man. I am so sorry that I just saw your message like
This worked out.
just a few minutes ago. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
I am so excited that you're here. Are you joking? This worked out so well that you just popped on. I'm Donna. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Donna. Gavin.
And you said Gmar Chatima Tova. Are you Jewish as well?
I am not, but
How do you know
I
that?
Google helped me like a week ago because I was talking with Sandy Greenberg, and she told me that Yom Kippur was coming up, and I was like, oh,
Aw.
what's the appropriate thing to say here?
So Sandy Greenberg, for those of you that are just tuning in, of course, is Ellen Greenberg's mother. Can I just say, I always get really emotional whenever I watch cases like this and seeing parents. The fact that she and what's his name, Josh?
Josh. Yeah.
Josh. The fact that they are the they only had one child is so devastating. And to
Yeah.
lose a child, I can only imagine, is probably the worst thing in the entire world. I couldn't imagine a worse thing. But the fact that they don't have any other children, I held it together the entire 3 episodes of that Hulu documentary. That last line of the 3rd episode when she said, "If I could speak to Ellen, or if I could call her up right now, and I could just say, Mommy and Daddy love you." I'm not joking. I don't know what happened to me. I bawled, like
Yeah.
cried, like out loud sobbed as a mother of myself. I just can't imagine what they're going through to lose a child, but then to go through what they've gone through since losing their child.
Oh, these people are two of the most amazing people I've ever met. That I can't come up with any other words other than just the crazy amount of grace that they have displayed in this now almost decade and a half fight to get justice for their daughter, and the true grit that they show, right? They're not giving up. They are not giving up. They're on a mission, and there will be no stopping them. And I pity the person who gets in their way. They,
Yeah, because they're on a mission, and you cannot mess with a parent that wants to find justice for a child. I don't think that anyone can get in their way, and to see that they're holding it together. I mean, that mother, Sandy, can we just take a moment? I mean, I'm sure Josh is incredible too, but they really did heavily focus on Sandy in that documentary. You know them well. I mean, you speak to them quite often, I imagine. But Sandy, and I'm just getting to know your content, so I don't know how much you've done a lot of content on Ellen, so I would love to, really deep dive it. But Sandy talks about how she has built herself up, slowly, slowly. The resilience that she's probably had to get here. She said that she almost blacked out those first few years. She doesn't really even remember. She said it's so sad. I believe it's her niece that she's speaking to in
it's
one of the,
Caroline. Yeah.
where she said that she laid on the floor next to the dog in the sun. You can just visualize that as a grieving mother, just laying on the floor. You're just empty. You just don't even know where to go.
Yeah, that scene got me. I had never heard her say that before. I got to know Josh and Sandy just like maybe 5 years ago. Maybe not even that, maybe 4 years ago, something like that. And when I met them, they were already in the no more tears zone. Like, I'm cried out, I'm done. Now it's just fighting time. So
Yeah.
one of the things that's been wonderful is I've never had to. I've never had to try to be delicate when asking a question. I used to kind of approach them, go, I'm curious about something. I don't want you to be offended, that sort of, and they would just say, shoot, fire away. I'll tell you anything.
Mm.
And yeah, they're remarkable people.
So, Gavin, I just heard a little bit of your entry into how you got involved when you were on the podcast that I was just talking about, what is it called? I just talked about it. It was the hidden homicide, with the crime analyst.
Oh, I'm blanking right now. Give me a second. I'm
My
totally
friend
blanking.
Ava
She's
Rosie
so
just sent it
amazing.
to me, and it's so good. Hold on, I'll tell you in 2 seconds. Crime analyst. It's called with Laura something maybe.
Yes, Laura is her name, and she's
Okay, I
wonderful.
will tell you guys. It's called Crime Analyst with Laura. Okay,
Yeah.
whatever. We'll find out for you, and I'll even put in the link. It's a very good if you're interested in that. She's really good. It's just Laura Richards. That's her name,
Yes,
Laura
that
Richards.
is her.
And you were on her podcast for the part two of this three-parter in June. You talk about how you got involved with this case. Do you want to share with my audience?
Yeah. Well, I had been doing a deep dive in a similar case, similar in terms of just how infuriating it is out of Buffalo, New York. And the victim in that one is Amanda Winkowski. And one of my viewers just said, if this bothers you, you should check out Ellen Greenberg. There were a couple of stories in the Hulu doc. You guys get to know Stephanie Farr. She's a reporter out of the Philadelphia Inquirer. She was pretty much that, she was the only person that had written anything about it. And so I found her 2019 piece, which was a big piece, and just started to kind of spiral. I needed more, I needed more, I needed more, and there was no more to go. So, being a reporter here in Pennsylvania, I just turned to the UJS and I was able to access and order everything that they had filed in, at that point, their one lawsuit against the city of Philadelphia. And I paid more money than I had to, like, I really couldn't have afforded it, but I did it. I bought everything and I went through every single filing, every single exhibit. And then I would never tell anybody to do this, and I will never do this again without permission. But because I kind of felt like, well, this is public record, they filed it in court, I organized it the way my mind works and I published it on my website. And it just turned out that it tickled Josh and Sandy. They were happy about it.
Why
Um,
wouldn't you do that again?
I think I'm a little more sensitive to the struggles that families have now. Like, that the Greenbergs are only the second family that I ever worked with that are victims where their loved one is a victim of a homicide. The Winkowski family, they were all about that kind of thing, but I, I think I would just be more careful about reaching out to the family first. Hey, this is
I
my
see.
plan. This is what I'd like to do, and
Yeah.
and if I don't get their blessing, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, you really, but there is something about this case that really, like, really, you felt very connected to it
Yeah,
because you felt like she was mislabeled as a suicide when in reality, you were like, there is no way. And this is why this case is so shocking. This woman
yeah,
was found with 20 stab wounds in all parts of her body. And there's so many other issues. And the police, essentially, if you watch, just took his word for it. Okay, take it. Suicide, goodbye. I mean, there's so many more things to it, obviously, so many layers that we can get into right now. But this is unreal that they just
yeah.
dropped it like that.
Yeah, they did her wrong. The really thing that caught me was Ellen was 27 when she died, and which makes her actually kind of close to my age. I'm about to turn 50. I think she was born in 85, so she'd be 40 now, right? She'd
Yeah.
be, uh,
Well, I was
she
born
was,
81 and I'm 44. So I'm 4 years older than where she would be, right? So
yeah,
she would be 40 this year.
she'd be in her 40s. I think my math is wrong in that, but anyway, I'm not much older than her, but because she is forever 27, and Kimberly and I, my wife and I, we have two daughters in their 20s.
Yeah.
Um, I kind of felt this paternal kind of pissed offedness about, about the system abusing a young woman who was already murdered. And and that just really rubbed me wrong, really pissed me off, and made me it I've always kind of felt paternalistic and protective of Ellen Greenberg just for that very reason. I'm able to or it was, I'm not, it's not that I'm able to, it's just that I did. I really, really kind of put my own daughters, what would happen if the same thing happened to one of my daughters, you know?
Oh, yeah, you would want you'd want someone like a Gavin out there fighting for them.
You'd want a Josh and Sandy for sure.
For
You'd
sure, but
want
you'd want
that.
a team of people just like us, right? You'd want the Stephanie Farrs and the
Yeah.
people out there writing the story. And you would hope that a police department and a medical examiner, all these people, you'd want them to do diligence, to do their due diligence and do a correct investigation. So just to do a little quick 5-minute story for those people that haven't watched the documentary, I yesterday on my show, I had just watched the first episode and then just a little bit of the second. So I played I talked about what had happened and
Mhm.
a general story. Essentially, Ellen Greenberg, like Gavin had just said, was a 27-year-old, beautiful, I mean, truly beautiful, stunning, first grade teacher. And she lived, by all means, a very happy life, minus a little bit in the couple months before she had passed, a couple months, she was showing signs of anxiety, signs of a little bit of stress with her job. In my 20s, by the way, I was engaged and married around the same age, 27 to 29. And I also went through a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress. I actually started seeing a psychiatrist. I think it's a very common age to go through anxiety, stress. I don't think that that is like such a strange thing. I don't think anyone would pick up on that and be like, what's going on? Oh my God, something big. So, like, I don't think Josh, her father, would have been like, something weird is going on. Cause I know that he probably maybe would hold some guilt. Why didn't I pick up on something? But he tried to help her. He sent her to a doctor to get her help. And that's a very normal. Oh, some people are hearing an echo. I don't know. I hear some people are
Is that
hearing it.
me?
Maybe on my voice, they're hearing an echo for you. I don't know. Um, let me know, you guys, if you're hearing it better. I don't know. But some people are hearing an echo of my voice. So yeah, it's on your end. I don't know.
I'm just going to mute my mic while you
Oh,
talk.
sorry, that's annoying. But anyway, so they were feeling like everything was pretty okay for her, but she was engaged to this very good looking, I mean, I guess I am the beholder, but like a good, successful, also, Jewish guy. Everything seemed fine. They were living in Philly, minus the fact that she didn't really like her job. She seemed pretty okay. And then on a snowstorm, she's home. He's home. He goes downstairs. He goes to the gym. He comes back upstairs. He can't get into the apartment. I'm really cutting it short. Obviously, you guys can watch to see all of the footage to see. He can't get into the apartment. He's texting her. He goes downstairs. He comes back upstairs. He goes downstairs. He comes back upstairs. He's texting her. He finally breaks into the apartment, unlatches it with his shoulder after sending a myriad of like angry text messages to her. And that's when he discovers this body of hers. And then he does call 911, which is what we heard yesterday on the show. Gavin, can you remind me and everyone here, who does he call before he calls 911?
So he called his cousin Camian, their first cousins, best friends from what I can tell. And then he talks to Camian and he talks to Camian's dad. So it would be his uncle, a guy named James Schwartzman. Uncle Jimmy is a powerful attorney, a former U.S. Attorney, a judge, and a guy that is politically connected just on every level, especially in the city of Philadelphia. It's so basically, and he contacted two lawyers, is what he did before he called 911.
And this is after he entered the door, we assume.
So that is kind of, uh,
We don't know.
so yeah, his story doesn't make sense to me. So like, there's so many plot holes in his story that I, I only ever report like, yes, he went down to the gym. We know that. Yes, he
Because there's
went back up.
cameras.
Yep. Yep. And then uh was the door latched? He says it was. Was he outside of in the hallway? Well, there was a witness that said he saw him seated by the door. So, but for the most part, the story doesn't make sense to me now.
If you had okay, well, so essentially we don't know exactly his whereabouts other than the CCTV 2 cameras that show him in the lobby pacing back and forth from the elevator to the doorman, asking to get the keys or to get help getting into the apartment, and then him going into the gym and out of the gym. There's no CCTV cameras up in the hallway on the 6th floor, so we don't have or in the elevator. So we don't see him getting in to his apartment. We have no timestamp on when he leaves the apartment and when he walks into the apartment. And that leaves a lot of unanswered questions of how does he ever exit the apartment, at what time, and when does he ever enter the apartment? And that's unfortunately like it leaves a lot open for discussion. Also, whoever entered the apartment if she was murdered, who would have murdered her, other than potentially him, right? Like
Right.
it's okay. Then, okay, so and Aunt Clara is saying, Gavin, tell us about your door experiment. So I'm gonna have to ask that in just a moment. Do you have a door experiment to tell us about?
Well, that was the. I did two things in the beginning on this case.
Okay.
There were a couple things. Number one, Ellen was stabbed 20 times. 10 of them were to the back of her head and neck. And I just kind of wondered, is that possible? Can a person stab themselves in the back of the head? And the answer to that is find it very improbable to actually. So my wife is Ellen's size, 5'7". She like they weigh the same. Now, of course, we're older than Ellen was then, but my wife is a perfect avatar because she's physically fit, she's strong, all that sort of stuff. So my poor wife, who hates being on camera, totally did it for me, and
You
we
tried to
tried to
stab your wife, Gavin?
well, we like got like a wooden piece that was the same size as the knife. See what would that look like? And my wife, who I would say is
Mm-mm.
more than the average person in physical fitness and flexibility, no, it just
How
wouldn't
low
happen.
was the lowest stab wound? Do you know?
Like halfway up her neck. It was all
Like
in the
right,
back of
like
yeah,
mid neck.
yeah, yeah. At, up into like there were nine in a
How
in a
many of us are
constellation
currently
there.
doing this right now watching the show?
Right. Yeah. Is To me it's not probable. Is it possible? Could you put a knife on something, like wedge it into something and hit your head back on it, or but who does that? Who does that? So that was the first thing. The second thing, I was like, the latch is suspicious to me. That doesn't look unlatched. It looks damaged, but it doesn't look unlatched. And so I went to the hardware store and I bought one of those
It's like a
hotel style
hotel
latches.
latch. For
Yeah.
anyone that doesn't visualize it, it's one of those that you kind of, if you're in a hotel room where you can kind of cross over so that the door doesn't fully open.
Yeah. So I put it on a door. It's not a perfectly scientific or forensic exercise, but I put it on my office door and I had my son film me try to break in, and it absolutely obliterated the door. I live in a 125-year-old house and I completely ruined the door jamb of this historic house, but I still keep it that way. I haven't repaired it because I love that experiment so much.
So the door jamb completely broke.
It just
And
busted
in
apart.
his case, it just kind of like broke a little bit of the latch,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, still attached to the door. To me, I don't think that you could get in with that
S-
amount of damage.
So, okay, so interesting. So the 911 call, this guy
Mhm.
calls 911. And if you listen to this 911 call and actually this crime analyst podcast, and I'm sure you've done a good analysis of this 911 call too. And also in the Hulu documentary, they also analyzed this call on episode 2. I am not a 911 analyst. I really don't do a lot of these at all, but I love true crime, and I listen to a lot of these documentaries. I watch them. This 911 call is everything wrong with what you would expect a 911 call to be. However, you can always find people that will react differently to scary situations and
Sure.
situations where there's grief, right? Yesterday, I got a DM from someone who, or an email from someone who said, please keep me anonymous. I listened to your show yesterday about the 911 call. I came home. My husband had died from, a heart attack or something along those lines. I called 911 and they said, please give him CPR. And I said, no, I don't want to touch a cold body. And I look back at that and I'm like, if someone had listened to that, they would have thought I maybe would have been a heartless, horrible person. Currently, everyone's judging how Erica Kirk is handling Charlie Kirk's death. Like,
Yeah.
people act weird around grief, but there's more to this 911 call. It's not your typical acting weird around grief call, because I would never judge someone that said, I don't want to touch a cold body, because that makes sense. She comes home. She has nothing to do with this man. He's clearly not like bleeding out. He's clearly a passed out man or dead, and she doesn't want to.
Yeah.
But this is a woman who she has a clear knife coming out of her chest, and his phone call is like, I just worked out. He's like setting up an alibi. I mean, it's
Yes.
so obvious on that call, right?
Yeah. The whole setting up an alibi is the one suspicious thing. The one thing that I caught, and I'm a layperson on this. I have no education or formal instruction on this at all. But he said he acted as if he did not see the knife. And when Josh and
Yes.
Sandy, through their lawyer, shared the entire file with me, like, you couldn't put a neon sign pointing to that thing and make it more obvious than it already was. It was a knife sticking out of her chest.
It's the first thing you would see if you look at the picture.
Yes. Yep. And the second thing is, he said there's a knife in her heart. He used the word heart, and that always just rubbed me wrong. Nobody says there's a knife in my
chest.
It's a chest. Nobody says heart. Like,
That's
unless
so
somebody,
true.
to me, it was like, to me, and listen, I'm going to be very careful here because Sam is not a suspect, right? Because there is technically no homicide here. So I don't want
If
to
you're
put
looking at
out
my
there,
face.
but okay, so allegedly, my opinion, right? But I think the only kind of person that would say a knife is in her heart is somebody who thought to themselves, I'm going to stick this knife in her heart.
I'm going to make sure she's dead.
Yeah. So it just always rubbed me wrong. It still is just,
It's really weird. Here's another
yeah,
thing that I thought was really interesting. And this is going back to Karen Reed days. Did you follow the Karen Reed case?
pretty well. Yeah.
Okay. My name was Donna, obsessed with Karen Reed bowling. I was obsessed. Lots of
Yeah.
people that were here were obsessed with me. The reason why I was so obsessed with that case was because of all the inconsistencies and all the what would you do if you were in that case? Like, what would you do if you were Jen McCabe and you saw John O'Keefe's body laying on the snow? How would you react? And what
Mm.
was so interesting about the way that she reacted was your first thought wasn't, there's a dead man on the ground. Your first thought would be like, wait, my sister lives in that house. The lights aren't on. Why aren't they coming out? We're screaming outside their front door. Cops are here. Are they dead inside? And what is interesting about the way Sam handles this is, my wife or my fiance has just been murdered. Is there a killer in my apartment?
Yeah.
Am I next?
Yeah.
And he doesn't handle it that way. He handles it like she fell on her fruit knife. Because that's something we do all the
She
time.
must have. Yeah, she fell.
Whoa, I fell 20 times on my own fruit knife. Like, it's insane.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's not worried at all about his own safety. He's not worried about, oh my God, there's a killer on the loose. Where did they get in? Are they hiding in my bathroom? I'm freaked the fuck out.
Yeah. No, he's only concerned about establishing his alibi.
Yeah. I
And
worked out. I was just at the gym.
yeah, You'll see me on camera. I was down there.
And it didn't. No one had broken in because the latch was closed. But now the latch is open because I had to break in to
You
get
know,
in.
and the funny thing, and this is horrible coming from me, because look at me. It's not like I'm at the gym like 5 days a week or anything, but Sam Goldberg did not go to the gym. Now,
Mm.
I mean, look at him. Now, I'm not bashing the guy because yeah, I think he was for Ellen Greenberg, that kid was a catch. He was a successful kid. He had gotten his degree. He had gotten a good job in an industry that he loved. He came from a very good family that lived right there on the main line in Philadelphia. He was a good Jewish boy, is what Josh told me one time. Yeah, I thought he was a good Jewish boy, right? And he was a good looking kid. So I'm not bashing on him, but I'm looking at Sam and I'm sorry, you do not go to the gym. That's not something you do.
I wish we would have known what his like normal like schedule was. Did he go to the gym often? Was that like a normal thing he did?
Sam, according to everybody that I've talked to that knew Sam and Ellen, Sam spent his time smoking weed. That is about all he did. So no, he wasn't a gym rat. He wasn't an exercise guy. He wasn't any of those things. He just liked to smoke weed and golf.
So, yeah, on a snow day, all of a sudden you're going to be like, I'm going to take the day to work out. Yeah, right. You're going to
Yeah,
sit
I'm
on your ass
feeling
and watch
feeling like
a
I want to pump up. Yeah,
Yeah,
come
right.
on.
You're going to sit on your ass and like drink a beer.
Yeah.
What about okay, what about someone just asked in the comments, and this is actually a really interesting question. W- Uh Now I can't find the question. Did anyone hear Maya asked, did anyone hear any screaming? Were there any?
There are no witnesses that heard anything.
And this is actually a really interesting point and some unanswered questions. You bring this up in your latest YouTube videos. Everyone needs to go. He's not in the show notes yet, but I'm going to put him in because he's a surprise guest. Gavin
Yeah,
mentioned.
I did. I
Um,
just dropped in.
I just love it. Gavin posted a YouTube video in the last couple of days about a few things the Hulu documentary doesn't pick up on, and one of them is all of her bruises. So
Yeah.
the the person that did Dr. Osborne, he's
Mhm.
the medical examiner.
He was the assistant medical examiner that performed the autopsy.
Okay. He picked up on only 11 bruises. You say in your video, I don't know if he had a bender the night before or he was like half sleeping, but she actually had 59 bruises on her body. And
Yeah,
they
I
were of varying healing stages.
yeah.
So
So,
let's talk about that.
well, there's a lot wrong with the autopsy, and I think of a lot of it is copy paste errors.
Oh,
Like
really?
it like again, I try to extend as much grace as I can. Like the night that the cops were there and they messed up, I can understand a cop or two messing up, but then they endeavored to cover up their screw up, and that's where I have an issue, right? Dr. Osborne was, I mean, there were like 300 murders in the city of Philadelphia that year, and they had a staff of just a few doctors. They had literal bodies piling up, right? They had tons of work to do. So they would take shortcuts. They had little snippets of stuff that they would copy and paste into their autopsies. But Dr. Osborne colossally messed this up because he says there's 11 bruises, and yet they took photos of each individual bruise, right? It's like I'm not like straining my eyes to see these. They have taken photographic evidence of all the bruises, and when I count them up, when I tally them up, it's 59, including a constellation of bruises around her neck. And when they opened her neck and deflected up the neck muscles, there's a giant hemorrhage right in the middle. And this is classic indication of manual strangulation. I've talked to like four medical examiners on this, four pathologists on this. And Tom, I I blank on
You
people's
just
names
said it,
sometimes,
and
but
I'm gonna look crazy, but I remember Brennan, right?
yeah, Tom Brennan, thank you. Dang it.
Yeah.
I talked to him this morning. That's
Okay.
how my mind is working right now. But Tom has 800 homicides that he has investigated. So, yeah, that is manual strangulation. What does Dr. Osborne put in his report? Neck has nothing remarkable. He took a
That is
photo of a freaking
awful.
giant hemorrhage.
So, if you had to guess, you believe that maybe there was no screaming or sounds because she possibly, and this is what I think, she possibly and probably died by manual strangulation.
I don't think that there was enough damage to kill her through manual strangulation, and there are vital responses on most of the stab wounds. So she was alive when most of those stab wounds happened. Um, what I think is that there was an argument, and here's something that I've talked a little bit. Ellen Ellen Greenberg, bless her heart, she never met a sleeve that she could get along with. She was a spaghetti strap girl. She was a strapless girl. She was a sleeveless girl. She just didn't like sleeves unless it was like freezing cold outside. She was in a tank top or something similar. But in the last 2 months of her life, there are almost no photos of her in the clothing that she typically wore. She was covered up
Mm.
from neck down to wrist. And
Mm.
so, in my opinion, I think that there was some I think there was some domestic violence going on there. I think that Ellen did not know how to cope with it. I think that she probably thought it was her job that was causing all the stress, but there was more going on. And then when I look at all those bruises, including there was a bruise right on her forehead, like right on her hairline. Of course, it would be lower than my hairline, but like right there, like a big bruise right on her forehead. She
Wow.
had been beaten, and Dr. Osborne didn't say anything about that.
And, it makes sense because she was going through all these other strange kind of like sad feelings and stress. And her best friend, who had known her since she was a very young child, they were planning weddings at the exact same time.
Yeah.
And she said she was feeling withdrawn. She was so excited about the best friend was so excited about her wedding and was talking to Ellen all the time about like her wedding plans, and Ellen wasn't. Ellen was kind of withholding her wedding plans and wasn't sharing it in the same manner, and she felt kind of like almost hurt by it. Like, why isn't Ellen excited about her wedding and sharing it with me? And she felt like a little bit almost like let like left out by Ellen not sharing it. But you know what? You do that when you're not maybe excited about your future with this person. Also, wasn't she sharing news with her parents kind of a little bit that she wanted to maybe move home?
It wasn't just her parents either. There
Okay.
was, I think I can say this because she's put it out there. It wasn't part of the doc, but yeah, Ellen, before she reached out to her parents, I think that's, I think it was before she reached out to her cousin who she was really close with and said, who lived in Philadelphia and said, "Can I move in for a little bit?" And the cousin went, "You and Sam?" And then that was the end of the conversation. Oh, never mind. It was one of those things. And then she reached out to her parents asking if she could come home. And their what she was expressing to them is that work was hard. And she
Mm.
loved her job. She loved her kids, but she was expressing how hard work was. That she was not expressing, there was no indication that anything was wrong with at home. There's no indication. And so I think they did what I would have done in their position. Tell you what, let's just get you help. Let's get you help. And that's yeah, so she at least twice she expressed a desire to leave.
It's so sad. I think that so many women probably feel like they're in the same position because the mom said that they spoke all of the time. They
Mhm.
spoke the morning of her murder. They spoke on the way to work all the time. She probably felt like she and her daughter were best friends because they were only, mother and daughter, only one. And she probably felt like they talked about everything. But I think a lot of women either are, and I've never been in this position, knock on wood, but I think a lot of women either feel A, scared to talk about it, B, ashamed, worried to let the people around them down. Maybe they don't want to allow people around them to not like their partner, they're planning the wedding, that maybe they feel like this is just a stage and they don't want maybe mom and dad not to like their husband, their future husband. Maybe it's just a one-time thing. And then what someone said on the guest, Jamie Zuckerberg or Zuckerman on Crime Analyst, the podcast that I was listening to, said it sometimes is like a leaky faucet and you don't really know that you're in a domestic violence situation until you're sitting in a pile of water, like, or a pool of water. It's like it starts small, and then all of a sudden you're drowning in a violent situation, a violent relationship. It's just awful.
Yeah.
I feel so sad thinking about what she probably was, the tumultuous feelings that she was feeling. And meanwhile, Sam was just okay. Well, a couple other questions fast about the text messages. So he sent her these text messages, these like 9 text messages in the few minutes when he couldn't get into the door.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts on that? They were pretty intense. Where are you? Let me in. Are you serious? Like stuff like that. Pretty like angry, right?
They escalated quickly, for sure.
Had
And
he actually, killed her, if he did, let's just go down that route, for shits and giggles. If he did, would he have done it already? Like, would that be like a ploy to pretend that he didn't? Like, what would have been the thoughts behind those text messages? Or had he not? And then that's just how his natural reaction is to her. And then, like, I'm so confused by those text messages.
no, well, in my opinion, Ellen was dead long before he went down to the gym.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
There are two. When I look at the timeline closely, there are 2 kill windows, and neither of them are very big. They're like 6 or 7 minutes. But I think it happened long before he went down to the gym. In looking at the text messages between Ellen and Sam, because keep in mind, Josh and Sandy through Tom Brennan sent me Ellen's phone, and I did a forensic dump of Ellen's phone. So I have all of their text messages from the time she bought that phone.
Whoa.
They did not talk like that to each other, ever.
In that
They didn't.
angry way.
No, ever.
Even in the last couple months.
No.
It was always kind.
It was always kind.
Wow.
In fact, I mean, there were a couple of moments in there, a couple of voicemails. I think one was a voicemail. I think one was a text where Sam was apologizing. Like there had been something happen. I don't know what, but he was apologizing and he was talking about how, he loved her so much. And yeah, at least the digital footprint of Ellen and Sam, it just appeared like they were 2 kids in love. And you know what? All the things that you look at Ellen and think about, like she was exactly who we think that she was. Like, you know how everybody has secrets? Like if you got my phone, you'd find secrets, right? It's not like
what kind of secrets, Gavin?
Right. It's not like I got bodies buried or anywhere, but you would get to know me if you had my phone, if you had my computer, you would see who I am versus the person that I put forward. And when I was working with Laura Diamond, who's the producer of the doc, for years, and one of the things that she and I always talked about was that Ellen was exactly who she was. There was nothing on her phone.
Skeletons.
No, nothing.
What? And that's interesting because I would think that if they got into these like tumultuous arguments and he was, abusive to her, that maybe the next day he'd be like, I love you so much. Sorry about that last night, baby.
Yeah, there were only 2 times where there was an apology, but it wasn't like that. Hey, I'm sorry that I, crushed your face last night.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything like that. It was just, I needed to get away. I'm so sorry. I love
The
you.
only thought that I'm thinking is, and this is really crazy, is if he was smart enough to think, I don't want any evidence of any weird stuff because I'm smart enough to know that people would ever look at a phone, or like she would show her parents like.
Well, Her phone and her computers were taken by his uncle from the
Oh my
scene.
God, that's right. Okay, so let's get into that part. So this is where the corruption part really comes in, and this is the most disgusting part of this whole story. I hate this part because I think it's still going on. He calls his uncle and his oh wait, but before we get there, Billy asked a question which is really, really important, and this is so confusing to me too. How was he able to leave the apartment and then relatch it? What's the deal there?
Okay, to me, there are two possibilities. The first is I don't think it was latched. I think that's the most probable thing. That, like, assuming Sam did it, I don't think that it was latched at all.
So then how did they even like what was that all about then?
Uh,
He just
so
went down and pretended it was locked,
that's what I think.
knowing that the doorman can't leave his post?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it was ever locked. I think the damage from the inside came from him swinging the bar and pulling on the door until it was
Just like
damaged.
pretending to do this?
That's what I think. The other I mean, there are other ways that he could do that. I mean, you can learn it on YouTube. I don't know that you could have in 2011. Uh, but the other maybe there was a second person.
Like
Maybe
an
there was
accomplice?
maybe there's an accomplice. I think that's
Because
less
they're on the
likely.
6th floor. So it's not like a window that he's jumping out of. And there would have
Right.
been
And
camera because
yeah.
there was outdoor cameras.
Yeah, and there were no real balconies. It had a sliding glass door, but the balcony was like 6 inches, right? It was like
Yeah.
this.
We would have seen him. We would have seen someone outside, or at least
Yeah.
him go in from the
Yeah.
outside. Interesting. Okay. Let's go into what happens after okay. So there's a couple mistakes here that happen. The cops come, they take his word for it,
So
essentially.
the only okay, the only person who ever says that Sam said there was a witness to him breaking down the door is a guy named Steve Olszewski. He was a medical examiner's office investigator. So if you
Okay.
think like Joseph Scott Morgan is a death investigator, that's who Steve Olszewski was. He said in his report that Sam told him that Philip Hanton came up to the door with him and witnessed him break down the door. In neither of Sam's statements did he say that to police. It's only in Olszewski's report. Um, But that is what Osborne leaned on when he said, "Okay, yeah, I'll change the manner to suicide because she was alone and there are witnesses to corroborate that, or there's a witness to corroborate that." So yeah, and then the police who came in first, what happened was first responders came in, firefighters came in, and they went up there and did their little, quick little look see at the apartment. They came back down. They told, I think it was either Phil Hanton or Melissa Ware, you don't need an ambulance. You need a morgue, something like that. So, the men or the firefighters are like, oh, yeah, okay, we're backing out now. Call the police.
Wow.
It was like, I don't know. Again, I'm always trying to extend a little extra grace because I really hope that people will do that for me when, but if if the police had just turned her body over and just looked at the amount of blood that was coming off the back of her head, that would have changed the entire thing.
Well, it's also like if they would have just used common sense. Like,
Or followed their own procedure. This is a homicide until we prove otherwise.
exactly. I mean, and maybe they just need to do a little also research on studies and statistics on suicide for women. And I've just gone into this today when I did some research on this because women who usually end their own lives don't do it in this manner, and they definitely don't do it in such a quick thinking manner. There was, as I did and listened on this podcast, there was no plan. She had filled up her gas that day. There were dinner reservations. She was making a fruit salad. Like,
Yeah.
with a knife in such a violent manner with no, I mean, what? Like, it's there's also so many other things in the way that you stab yourself, and I hate to get graphic, the pain and the paralyzation of you if you hit a nerve or something would stop you from being able to continue in so many different ways, unless literally like the spirit took a hold of you. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not that, I don't even know what that means, but like, I just don't believe that you're physically capable of doing that to yourself. I don't even know if someone is physically capable of doing that to yourself.
Yeah. I mean, there are people that I talk to that say, yes, there are often hesitation wounds. That happens. So
Like it just,
When
yeah.
Olszewski, he didn't, Ellen was, Ellen was dressed in like casual clothes at the house. So she was in sweats. She was in a t-shirt. She was in a zipped up kind of hoodie sweatshirt.
She had Uggs
She,
on,
she had Uggs on. She was not wearing a bra. She was just kind of relaxing, right?
pajamas. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So when like on the crime scene photos, there's one where you can see Olszewski's gloved hand lifting up her shirt kind of below her bust so you can see her midriff. And there are the little stab wounds there. Um, and and I think to him he would say, yeah, those look like hesitation marks. But if he just like, I don't know, lifted a little farther and like, okay, well, 10 hesitation marks
Like, what?
and look at all the blood on the back of her head and look at the blood running parallel to gravity on her face. Those kinds of just, if he would have just paused for a moment, she had a clean towel in her left hand, like a bathroom towel, not a kitchen towel, like a stark, pristine white bathroom towel in her left hand. And then like
And her
other
phone was found in the bathroom.
her phone was in the bathroom. It looked to me like she was packing up. She was packing up her toiletries, her, fragrances and all that stuff to go.
She was probably not murdered in the kitchen. What do you think?
Uh, um,
Or do you think she was? And do you think she was moved?
I think she was moved, but I think it probably did happen in the kitchen because there's cast off blood spatter.
Oh, that's true. Why do you think she had a bathroom towel in her hand?
I think it was used to clean a couple things, like the knife, like the handle.
With
I
her
think
own hand?
no, I think it was placed in there
Oh, he
after
placed
the
it in
deed
her
was
hand.
done, because there are other medico-legal death investigators who say, yeah, there's evidence that there's been cleaning here. So yeah, I
I mean,
think
it feels like this guy did it like at 1 p.m. and then like had 4 hours to work on it before he went to the gym.
yeah,
It's like a lot of work.
I think my first death window is right around like 3:45,
Oh yeah, because it had to have happened later because she was texting with a friend.
and she was doing her grades for her kids at school.
Yeah. Okay. So the next day, the uncle and the cousin come to the apartment, and these are
Yeah,
the high-powered attorney and judge,
yeah.
correct?
Hmm.
They come to the apartment. The apartment gets cleaned by police request.
The police told Melissa Ware, the apartment manager, that it was not a crime scene, that they could call crime scene cleanup to clean it up. They like gave her their number.
It's
And
crazy. And it's not just like a regular cleanup. It's like from Dexter or whatever those shows are.
it's a professional forensic cleaning.
Like all evidence, goodbye.
Yep.
And they come in there, they clean the shit out of it. And the fiance's family, the poor Greenberg family, don't even get a chance to go through their not even like buried daughter's belongings. And before you know it, computer and phone, correct, are both taken.
It was two computers, her work computer, her personal computer, her phone, and her purse.
I would feel sick to my stomach. How violating for Ellen's family.
Yeah,
What in the world? How is that even legal? They weren't even married.
exactly. Yeah. Next
It's
of
not
kin was
family.
Josh and Sandy.
It's sick. Did they ever even okay, and so the question is, why? Why would they have to take these personal belongings? And now we find out why we think they took those personal belongings, which
Yeah,
would be
I think they I think that it's possible that they cleaned some stuff from the digital footprint.
well, we also find out in the documentary that there are techniques to it takes a little work, but there are techniques to, of course, delete searches, but also add
Hmm.
to predetermined Google searches. I didn't know that that was a possibility, but if you're smart
Yeah,
enough with computers, you can do that.
it doesn't even take that. And remember, this is 2011. So when Tom sent me Ellen's devices, now I have an IT background. That's what my education and training is in. So okay, I have these old Mac computers. This is long before Mac became secure.
2011. I mean, these
Yeah,
were the thick laptops.
yeah. It was like a white
Yep, the
MacBook, right?
bricks.
Do you remember those? Yeah. So yeah, I mean, with something like that that didn't have any type of like modern security on it, it would be a matter of just changing the date in on the computer and then doing those searches if you wanted to.
Yep,
It's
yep.
that easy.
And you wouldn't be able to do that as easily probably now.
Now, see what happened with Mac OS then. It still does it to, it still kind of works the same way, but it has just it's called structured query language. It's if you think of SQL, if you've ever heard the word SQL, that they're just all these little teeny tiny databases scattered throughout every piece of software and every folder in that entire computer. So anytime something is done, it's logged. Actually, in the Karen Reed case, the whole
House
how
long to die
long
in the
to freeze
snow.
die in the snow, yeah, that whole thing,
Gavin,
that was just found in a little SQL database.
it's not how, it's house. House
Oh,
long.
house long. Yeah.
You gotta get it right.
Sorry. But yeah, those are just like these little micro flat databases that are within the operating system. And so, yeah, nowadays it's a little harder to get away with that
It's wild.
because everything is synced to like standard time, UTC.
And then we find out, and of course, for time purposes, there's so much that we're missing, of course, but then we find out that, slowly, uh, the Greenberg family is pushing for answers, and they're not able to get answers. They're basically it's deemed well. Let's talk about it. So it goes from being a suicide, and then it goes to being a homicide.
It goes backwards. It's a homicide
Sorry,
first. Yeah.
homicide, then to a suicide.
Yeah.
And once it's deemed a suicide, it's over. You
That's
can't
the
do
end of the
any
investigation.
investigation. And they believe that it's deemed a suicide because of some sort of higher power out there. Someone is telling someone to do something to make it a suicide because right? I mean, there's got to be some sort of corruption or something, or someone's telling someone to do something because there's no physical reason that they should deem this a suicide, correct?
Yeah, and I've never heard like two things happened in this case. The police said prior to the medical examiner, this is a suicide. But the police don't declare cause and manner of death. They don't do that. That you wait until the medical examiner does. I mean, every professional cop I've ever talked to, th- they don't do that.
Yeah.
And they did that here. They told the media, "Oh, we've got a suicide here." And then when homicide came out from Dr. Osborne, they're like, "We disagree with Dr. Osborne, and here's why." And they did it in the media. They did it through TV stations. They did it through the Philadelphia Inquirer, and they did this very public pressure campaign to make the medical examiner fall in line. And then Josh and Sandy allege in their lawsuit and in Dr. Osborne's deposition, Dr. Galino's deposition, John McNamee's deposition, they all say, yeah, this happened. There was a meeting between members of the Emmy's office, the Philadelphia Police Department, and Ann Pontario from the DA's office, where they huddled in a room, not taking notes, not generating reports or anything. And it was after that meeting that Dr. Osborne said suicide. So there was pressure.
So, what was your take on the Josh Shapiro involvement today,
Oh,
or in your video that
well,
you
that
like?
was all that all came from my channel.
Okay, so let's talk about it.
So, okay, Shapiro, dang it. I don't like Josh Shapiro very much. He's my governor. Um, I got through my website an anonymous tip.
Oh, I like your cup, your mug,
The dill hole, yes.
the
Um,
dill hole.
yeah, that's my dill hole mug. Yes,
What is a dill hole? Is it like a thing?
it's a word that I say instead of dipshit.
Do you drink it every time you talk about Governor Shapiro?
Sometimes, yeah. Every time Josh comes up. Um, so I got a tip on my website saying at the time the case was at the attorney general's office and Shapiro was the attorney general and they had dug in their heels saying we believe that Ellen Greenberg did this to herself, and I was bemoaning it on my channel like I cannot believe the AG thinks this. And then I got a tip saying he's never going to change his mind, he's friends with the Schwartzmans. I went, what now? And it goes on to say, yeah, he went to school with the Schwartzmans, like from grade school through high school. Like,
And just to remind everyone, the Schwartzmans, that's the uncle of the fiance, Sam Goldberg.
yeah. Now, they say that they're not, like, they sent me a very threatening letter. It was scary and
Who's
expensive to
they?
have an attorney look at it. The Schwartzmans. Like, Kamian Schwartzman, James Schwartzman, Richard Goldberg, through their attorney, Jeffrey Johnson, sent me the most threatening cease and desist I've ever received, so much that I did hire an attorney. Uh, it was it was scary because these are
Saying for you
powerful people
not to talk about them at all, or just not to
saying that
talk
I
about
was
that.
I was defaming them, saying that I was defaming them. So anyway, they said in that letter, we're not friends with Josh Shapiro. Come on. But okay, then why does he call Kimby Schwartzman his friend and Kimby Schwartzman's husband his friend? And why are they in photos together? Like their kids go to the same school that they graduated from, by the way, and there they are, arm in arm, taking pictures with one another. They're friends. And then when I look at his various campaigns, starting from when he left the county commission to go to the House and all that stuff, they're not huge, but they're donations from Kimby Schwartzman Kimmel and her husband, and from Richard Goldberg, and like these people know each other, and it's not about, to me, it's not about religion. Like I love, revere my Jewish brothers and sisters, but this is a small community. I am Mormon, right? If this was happening in my community, if the AG went to the same church that I went to, and you know, it, it's they're just inter freaking connected. They all go to the
Well,
same temple, the
look,
whole thing.
I am, as someone that is Jewish, I don't take this personally at all because Jewish geography is strong. And there's always going to be good Jews and bad Jews. And look at the Adelson trial that just happened with
Yeah,
Dan Markel. I mean, look at Donna Adelson with her she was Jewish and she was this entitled person that thought she could do no wrong. I never ever care the fact that someone is Jewish. It never hurts me in that way because there's always going to be good and bad. But in the world that they all know each other and they're all connected, that doesn't surprise me at all because a lot of people know each other in this kind of space, especially East Coast, in the same cities, in the same small towns, like
yeah.
here in Los Angeles. Do you know how many people that, someone knows someone and I'm like, oh, I went to elementary school with them. Oh, I was in the same bat mitzvah circuit with them. It's very common. So that would not surprise me at all.
Yeah. So to my satisfaction, they're friends. They know each other. They've known each other for a long, long time. Their kids still go to school together. They went to school together. yeah, so I point that out in a video, and then like, and who's going to listen to just some stupid YouTuber sitting out in Western Pennsylvania? I just decided, I'm like, I'm going to reach out to every single news outlet in the Commonwealth. And it didn't matter how big or small, and I reached out to them. This was on a Tuesday, and on Friday, very late in the day, it was like 4:30 in the afternoon. Shapiro's office puts a statement out through Annie McCormick saying there is no conflict of interest here, but there is an appearance of a conflict of interest, so we're going to kick the case back down. The case then lands in Chester County, where the DA is Deb Ryan, who is in the exact same circle. The
How do you know?
exact same circle. They go to Temple together. They are part of the same political party. She lives right on the main line. She didn't go to that school, but she went to one just down the street. Right? They
They're
were
all
all
connected.
all
Do you
connected.
know if I don't know if it would even be a friendship that would keep them. I think it's probably a lot of donors that would probably be a lot of it. It's like a
Yeah.
financial, you say there's the same political party, so maybe they're donating to the campaigns
Yeah.
if they're
I,
wealthy.
I did a
It's
very cursory look at donations, and I was able to find them within just a few minutes. Now, if I had somebody with real skill in that, I think that I could find so much more.
It's interesting. Yeah, Lisa says kind of like Canton. Canton also, I mean, it's that same, it's like the corrupt kind of how the
Yeah.
police protected the police. People are very protective, but what's wild, or I guess what's interesting, and you can't really say it's like a Jewish thing because the Greenbergs are Jewish as well.
Yeah.
So it's not like, they're protecting their own and not the others, because that's not the case. It's just protecting the people that protect you or
I
that
have to say though,
support you.
I have to say though, I don't think the Greenbergs were good enough for the Goldberg
Goldbergs.
slash Schwartzman family.
You think
It's
it's
really
like a
the Hankin
hierarchy?
family. Yeah, Josh and Sandy are successful people. Josh is periodontist, but I think the really the family is the Hankin family. Um, so Sam's mother and Camian's mother are sisters. Their maiden name is Hankin, and they're old mainline Philly money. And yeah, I think Josh and Sandy. I think Ellen wasn't good enough for their sweet Sam.
Do we have any indication if Sam's parents liked Ellen?
On the surface, they called her Ellie, they called her Sweetie, they called her all those things, but there were indications where, um, like I can't remember whose wedding it was, but all of the girls were invited to like this event where they all got together or they all got ready together for the wedding and everything like that. Ellen was excluded from that. There are a
Mm.
couple of things like that.
There was definitely a comment that stuck with me as just a woman that the best friend had made, that she said she went from shopping at Nordstrom's to Neiman's when she
Yeah.
started dating Sam, which is interesting. Just as a girl, you kind of recognize that when the girl starts dating the rich guy. I didn't have that because my husband and I were always like the same. I never dated like the rich Jewish guy, but I definitely know the girls that did that, where all of a sudden you start dating the rich guy and everything is labeled this, labeled that.
Oh
And
yeah.
maybe there was like a little bit of keeping up with the Joneses vibe in their life. It's interesting. So my next question is, where is Sam now? And as we just don't have that much time, I could talk to you for 3 hours, and we've got to do maybe a part 2 on this. But Sam, it's interesting. So I did a little bit of a deep, Jewish geography. Hello, I know
Sure.
a lot of us. So Sam is remarried. He
Yep.
lives in New York City, or at least in the New York area. I don't know if he's in the city.
I know
Um,
right where he is. Yes, he's
oh,
in the city.
okay. Well, let's not tell his address, but you'll have to tell
Yeah,
me
yeah.
offline.
But
Um,
I do get pictures sent to me all the time of Sam and his family all the time.
oh yeah. Well, he's married to a woman who it's interesting. I know many people that know her. I just found this all out today, including a family of mine that know her, that follow her on Instagram. I'm like, wow, we're like very like 2 degrees separated. And
Yeah.
I'm so shocked by this because I'd be so interested to know how that went down when you start dating a guy and you're like, "So, have you ever been engaged before?" And they're like,
Um,
"Yeah."
so yeah, of course, I haven't been privy to all those kinds of things, but real quick, just to get back to my point, Sam and Ellen were going to be married in the Hershey Hotel, which is a beautiful place, but Sam and his wife, they got married in the plaza.
Ooh.
And yeah, so like and I to me, she and their children are just more victims of Sam Goldberg. To me, they have nothing to do with this. They and I'm very sorry that
They're
all of
even
this is
brought up.
happening in the media, including, and I'm participating in it because it has to be done. But yeah, she married into this mess. And I kind of feel like, based on Sam's comments to like CNN and stuff like that, I think that he probably just said, yeah, she was just mentally, she went off the deep end. She took her own life, loved her a lot. I'm sure that those were those conversations because none of this was happening. None of these very public conversations were happening when Sam was dating his wife.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm sure right now this is probably the worst possible situation for that family right now because
Yeah,
and I look, for her safety and for her life and her kids, I hope that she's not in a similar situation.
me too.
Hopefully. But it's interesting, you know, she's related to a very, very, very successful jewelry designer who I follow on Instagram. I was actually really surprised by that because I just found this all out today. Um, I'm
And
just
from
like
all
really
indications from people that I know who know them, she's a lovely woman.
I'm sure she
She's a
is. Like
lovely
this has
person.
nothing to do with her.
Yeah,
I'm sure she and then I'm sure they, you know, live a very nice life and everything and who knows, but it's just so interesting how you can have this whole dark past. I couldn't imagine what it would be like to go, you know, you have kids and then you find out like, oh, the kids who our kids are having play dates with and like they go to their house. And I just watched this because you know all the moms are watching these Hulu documentaries.
of course.
You know the moms at the school that their kids are at are talking about these documentaries just like me and my friends are all talking about. We're
Yeah,
all
of
texting
course.
about it at my kids' Jewish school.
Yeah.
So we're all talking
I'm
about it, and it's one of the dads.
well, I know that the Goldbergs and the Schwartzmans follow me. I know that they watch everything I make. I get stuff.
Oh my god.
So yeah, yeah, there's Sam's not hiding from this.
This is but, like, at this point, is there ever a chance that justice is served?
So I talked with Josh Ritter. Do you know Josh from Courtroom Confidential? He's a former
No.
prosecutor. He's a criminal defense attorney. Good guy.
Is he a YouTuber?
He
Okay.
has a YouTube channel called Courtroom Confidential.
Now I
Really
have
good
someone
guy.
else to follow.
Yeah, and reach out to him because he's awesome. Um, anyway, so I was asking him the same thing. I want there to be justice for Ellen. Actually, let me say this. Josh and Sandy have never, ever, not publicly and not privately to me, ever asked for anything more than we want our daughter's death to be recognized for what it is. It is a murder. And
Mm,
they specifically say everything else is up to other people. If it's a homicide and the police know it, I will leave it to the police to investigate that. They all they want the world to know is that their daughter did not do this to herself. So that's number one. Number two, for my satisfaction, maybe not for theirs, but for my satisfaction, I hope there is an arrest in this case. And I hope that there is a prosecution. Now, according to Josh, and I don't disagree with him, that's a tough prosecution. That's a tough case to take in front of a jury because you've got 15 years worth of history saying the police don't even think that this is a murder. Why are we even here?
mhm.
And so I think it'll be tough. I think it'll be really tough. But if there is an arrest, I'm just putting it out there in the universe. Please, whoever makes that arrest, give me a heads up. I want to be in the city when it happens. I want to see it.
We need Gavin and a camera. Well, Gavin, you're doing phenomenal work. You guys, please continue to follow Gavin over at here on YouTube. Your channel is called just Gavin Fish or what?
Yep, it's just me, Gavin Fish.
And do you have a podcast as well or just here on YouTube?
Nope, just here on YouTube. Yeah, you can find me on all the socials, but as Donna learned, I'm not really all that active on them.
No, you took 24 hours to respond to me, but it's okay. It worked out so perfectly. This was a wonderful, wonderful conversation. And I'm definitely going to have you back on my show, hopefully to talk about other cases or just, or maybe an update on this case as things go along. But you're
Happy to do it.
phenomenal.
Thank you.
And I'm praying for you with Josh Shapiro.
Thanks. Josh, so I'm a reporter in Western Pennsylvania. Anytime
Yeah.
Shapiro comes through, I am specifically uninvited to anything that he does publicly.
He's scared of you.
I am persona non grata with that guy.
He doesn't like you.
He does not.
Oh my God. Well, I guess it means that you're doing something.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I actually think Josh Shapiro is a good governor. He's done pretty well by the people. I just also think that he helped in the conspiracy to cover up Ellen's murder. So
Yeah. I mean, listen, I will say you're doing a really nice job for Sandy and Josh. And can you please, please, please give them a big hug from me and from my audience? I'm not joking. If you had a camera on me when I saw her say that she just would say that she loves her daughter and she's proud of her daughter, like I said, bawled from one mother to another.
yeah.
I adored those parents and they're doing such a good job just holding themselves together. And I really, really, I'm sending them all the love and prayers for strength and for justice for Ellen.
I will. And thanks for having me on. I'm
course,
sorry that
everyone
it took me so long to get back to you.
No, of course. Go subscribe to Gavin. Everyone have an amazing rest of your Wednesday. I will not be here tomorrow because I'm going to be fasting. So have an easy fast, everyone. And I'll give you guys a little short. I'll do some updates for social for all the other things I was supposed to talk about, the stupid things. This is real life, you guys. This is important stuff. I'll talk to you later. Thanks, Gavin. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.